Hello and welcome to Not Random. Yep. What?
So hold on, before we even begin this, Jason, we said that Jason, we agreed that Jason would count us in, but he said, and like usually what we do on Random Nintendo and Random Nintendo, one of us will count down like 3, 2, 1, go. Jason said go 3, 2, 1, begin. You threw me off.
Yeah,
for a
I don't know
split
what that
second.
was. I don't know what that was.
Yeah,
I mean,
like.
The problem is here we are and the recording's going and it seems like we're both talking. So the question becomes, what happens now? Because people could be listening to this if we choose.
Wait, if we choose?
If we choose to continue this bad start of a recording for the world to hear, they could be listening to this.
Yep.
So what a great way to kick off Not Random Nintendo, not random. Also, I start with hello and welcome, which is my random Nintendo intro, but this isn't Nintendo, nor Nintendo. It is an Angel-less episode, so we're calling it JK with Jason and Kevin.
JK with Jason and Kevin. It's like a nerdier, less adult version of the Man Show. Man, do our listeners even know what
not
the
at
Man Show
all
is?
how I describe it. That's literally not how I would ever describe it. But yes, I don't know. Is the Man Show? Are we dating ourselves by saying that?
I don't.
And which
know.
one of us is Kimmel and which one of us is Corolla? Because one of them had a much better career trajectory than the other.
I was gonna say we could just use the second host that there were, but I just realized I remember that Joe Rogan was one of them.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
In the podcast space, it almost makes sense. But yeah, I'm good avoiding him.
Yeah. Okay. Let's scratch. Let's scratch everything that.
Let's scratch that.
Yeah. Let's just scratch that.
But it's funny because we named all these comedians. We're calling it JK, and yet there are no guarantees that there will be laughter to be had or jokes.
Absolutely no guarantees.
It's just our initials.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So if anyone's tuning in like, oh my God, Random Nintendo did a comedy podcast, no.
We
maybe not.
Did not.
Maybe yes, maybe not. Hard to say.
If we ever grow in the future, a comedy podcast may be in the works, but highly doubt it at this point. Highly doubt it.
And then the problem with that is we already took the JK name. So now JK as a brand is associated with the lack of funny. Meaning, if we do have a comedy podcast, we need a better name than JK. Like LMAO or something. It could be Larry, Matt, Angel, and Otis. And we'll find some people named Larry, Matt, and Otis to complete it with Angel.
Let me see. Let me see if there is a JK podcast out there.
Oh. Well, good thing we put with Jason and Kevin to avoid any copyright infringement.
So there is.
And good thing we're not a joke podcast.
There is a JK podcast that hasn't been updated since November 2nd, 2017. And then there's the JK Experience with Josh. Oh, the JK Experience would have been a much better name.
It would, but it's taken as we just established.
Well, this would be more of an episode title, not necessarily the entire podcast.
True. We could change it. I mean,
we can change it.
Nothing's in print yet.
Nothing's been finalized.
When people open this on their feed, there will be one of 17 different names. JK with Jason Kevin, the JK Experience, Kidding. Who knows? You'll have to, well, you'll already know. I was going to say you'll have to see, but like everyone else already would have seen it before they heard us.
Oh yeah.
So
that essentially everything that we have said so far has become
a waste of time.
Yeah, just a waste of time. We wasted 4 minutes just talking about the title of the podcast.
And to be clear to everyone, this is not, because it's not an RNN or an RNON, this is the quality to expect for approximately another, 54 minutes, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. Depends.
So strap in.
It all depends on how long we go. How are you, Jason?
Yeah. I'm doing all right. I just walked my Pikmin, which is a sentence I now have to say because of that new app. We'll talk about it in detail on Random Nintendo, but I literally, a phone app is making me walk because it makes little flowers appear. That is what my life has become.
Well, I mean, that's not too different from a phone making you, an app making you walk because you're trying to catch Pokemon.
True. Or my watch making me feel guilty that I didn't stand up. And in the middle of talking to people in my office, back when we were in the office, I just stand up in mid-conversation because my watch would be like, you gotta stand up. So, I'm a slave to electronics is really the takeaway, I think.
Are we all nowadays? Isn't that just Black Mirror?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that we say that because, like, today of all days, we're recording this a little earlier than usual. And today of all days, I feel like technology was like, oh, now you're really going to be a slave because Facebook did all the shenanigans with renaming to Meta, and they're pretending they're going to own the internet. And, like, this whole metaverse thing is just, I mean, what's your take on it? Like, do you have an opinion of the metaverse? It just seems like a buzzword, right?
I mean, right now it's a buzzword. I'm sure in the future. I mean, I don't know, because we've seen stuff like this before with something like PlayStation Home. Yes, and Second Life back in the day. And then you kind of have it now with like something that it's a little bit more crude, but with like VR chat on PCs. And I'm sure VR chat's on mobile if you could probably get it running on that. So
I think they had it working with like Google Cardboard, right? So like it would have to be on mobile.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. So, I mean, the difference now is that you have Facebook backing the entire thing. So
with $10 billion and a whole corporate strategy shift, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know, that'll be interesting to see play out for sure. But
I think
no, go ahead.
I think it's... Oh, I was just going to say, I think it's weird because, like, Facebook's making this play of this is what the metaverse will be. Meanwhile, you have, like, sort of half metaverses with, like, Fortnite and Roblox where they kind of organically became what they are now. I mean, not organically in the sense like these companies are like, whoa, there's, you know, there's suddenly Marvel characters in our game? How'd that happen? But, like, slowly, just iteratively, they kind of got to that point. Roblox is probably the most organic because that's just people making games and making levels. And next thing you know, there's 55 different Squid Game inspired games to play and hang out in. But I feel like that feels like a more natural way for this to happen than Facebook being like, well, we're going to tell you that next time you need to do some work, you'll be wearing a VR headset and your work will be on a virtual computer on your real desk. It's just like, why are you like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's one way this can go where it just grows on its own. There's another way where they're trying to like pitch investors more than people. And I don't, like, do people want this? I don't even know. It seems like a Second Life, to your point, Second Life, PlayStation Home, VR chat, none of those are like, I mean, PlayStation Home shut down pretty quick in the grand scheme of like PlayStation history. So is there a demand for this? Like, is it just like empty buzzwords? Is it like when, trying to think of when everyone was like thinking that, oh, augmented reality is the future, and so far no game except basically Pokemon Go has been able to capture it, and they're like, all, you know, the Harry Potter one's kind of flailing, the Minecraft one shut down. The Harry Potter one, or I already said Harry Potter. There's another one that just shut down too. I forgot which. I think it's based on Settlers of Catan, which also like what?
Wow, that's so niche. Jesus.
I know, like, what are they thinking? But yeah, and it's just kind of like, it's a big bet on Facebook's part, but I don't know if it's like logical, because the whole pitch is from like the corporate side of like, oh, all the brands will come together and we'll control the experience and you'll have everything you want within our thing. And it's like, cool, but like, what person's like, I would love for Facebook to control everything versus I just want this experience or that experience. Like, it feels like the pitch is like the cart before the horse almost. I don't know.
Facebook has always sort of been this way. I remember a long time ago reading that Facebook, they wanted to essentially be your web browser. And I don't remember if that meant that they actually wanted to integrate a web browser within Facebook, or if they just wanted Facebook to essentially become Google wrapped around this social media site, where anything that you could find on Google, you could just find on Facebook.
I think it was the latter. Because I do remember they did stuff like, instead of just having you link out to a news story, they would have the news story be like, and Google did this too with a program called AMP, but they basically tried to make the news story live within their platform. So they do some sort of revenue share and this weird, like, you split like the ad bidding and all this other stuff, but will load faster and it'll feel native, and all the Facebook integration will be right there for sharing it quicker. Or you know, like with Facebook video where they're like, oh, we have all these crazy metrics for Facebook video. Look how long people watch them. And then it turned out all those numbers were a lie, and it was like they watched 2 seconds and moved on, but Facebook pretended it was the whole video and yada yada. But anyway, I think that was that moment, and that's why Google like scrambled and did Google Plus among other things, because they're like, oh, Facebook's trying to encroach on us, so we need to encroach on them. And I guess we're kind of past that now because both of them kind of stopped. Even AMP got shut down. So like the Facebook or the Google program
has AMP shut down. Are you sure about that?
It's winding down, I should say. It's winding down.
Yeah, because I still get AMP
just yesterday. And they're the worst. Like,
oh yeah,
I mean, they're fine, but like they strip out the layout. For the publisher, it sucks because the ad revenue's lower because they're doing some weird rev share thing. And then what really sucks is, this just came out the other day, is Google was purposely holding back the load times of non-AMP pages as they like funnel you off Google.
Of course,
so you would have to use AMP. And then in AMP, they were doing some weird stuff where they're kind of monopolistically like giving themselves first pick of the banner ads, because they obviously have an ad platform. So there's like all this shady stuff going on. And then there's another thing that just came out about how Facebook and Google were in cahoots about ad bidding and stuff with a thing called Project Jedi. Go look it up, kids. But yeah, it's just like it's it's this weird turf war, except they're also working together, but it's all just to control the whole internet, and that kind of sucks because like I feel like the beauty of the web is like it's I wouldn't say decentralized, but it's everyone has a shot at doing something. You know, we have our little podcasts on it. We just kind of do our thing. And obviously Facebook's not going to turn down, oh, this random person, this random creator wants to help our creator economy and throw a podcast on. But, you know, it sucks if there's only like 2 or 3 power players, I feel like.
Yeah. Have you been desensitized by all the Facebook misinformation stuff? Like every news article that comes out after a news article just came out last week about the spread of misinformation on there. I feel like, me personally, I'm getting to the point where I see another article saying how they suppressed information or this kind of thing, and I kind of like shrug at this point, which is sad that I'm shrugging this off.
Yeah.
But at this point, I'm like, yeah, we've known this for a while now, since 2016, since before 2016. I mean, it was specifically the 2016 election that led to more people realizing, hey, maybe this Facebook thing isn't that great for society.
Maybe the internet was a mistake. You know, maybe everyone doesn't deserve to be able to share their opinion, says us sharing our opinions. No, but I think I've been sensitized in a way, in the sense of everyone, you know, every story is kind of the same, and you're right. It's like, oh, we knew this, which is almost problematic, because if the majority of people are desensitized like us, then actual new nuggets of information that actually would be a tipping point to like bury some of Facebook's decision, you know, to sort of like put an end to some of their problems, are being ignored by the general public. And Facebook knows that, and they're writing it out. Like, you know, the new thing that came out the other day is they intentionally would boost stories, whether they're true or not, that got angry emoji responses instead of happy emojis or thumbs up like button things or anything like that, because they knew the engagement would be higher. Now, in the grand scheme of things, misinformation is still the headline, but that, you know, the fact that regardless of if the information was true or not, they were elevating stuff that angered people to get more engagement, and people then, of course, rally around that anger, and it would usually be about something that's either sort of a tribalism thing of us versus them, or misinformation, or what have you. The fact that came out, and everyone was kind of like, yeah, well, we know they do it for misinformation, like that sort of buries the fact that Facebook was doing some other pretty bad stuff. And it's not, I'm not saying like we as the public need to be better about noticing these things. I mean more like, there's just so much Facebook has been doing. That's like a never-ending rigmarole of just like constant, I don't know, shenanigans that are actually detrimental to society.
Yeah, man. This definitely is not a comedy podcast at all.
Yeah, remember when we were saying JK? Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to drink to this. Give me a second. All right. My buddies actually dropped off a neat little care package of craft beers the other night. Let me see what I have.
Ooh, I'm drinking delicious water, which you can find in any sink. So
you do not want to drink the water from your sink at all places, though. Flint, Michigan, you
That's
definitely
true.
do not want to drink.
You could
the
find
water
it,
there.
but you should do it. Yeah, like certain countries.
You know, one of my coworkers got me into these little. You know how people add like flavored powders to water just to give it a little bit of flavor. Mm-hmm. I recently got into one. It was like a black cherry. I forget the name of the brand, but it was really good. Only 3 grams of carbs. I'm on the ketogenesis diet, so those are great for me.
How's that going?
It's going well. About a month and a half ago, I was 210 pounds. I'm now down to 194.
Nice.
Or it might have been a month and a half. Yeah, so it's going well. Also, what really helps is going to the gym.
So what is the gym experience for you? Like, how long, are you like a gym rat, or do you just do the bare minimum just to be able to achieve whatever goal you want?
I essentially
you definitely mentioned the gym on the other podcast before.
I do very much do the bare minimum, and that mainly just involves a lot of cardio. So what'll happen is I will head over to the treadmills as soon as I get there, and I will put out an incline at a decent walking speed, and I'll watch like an episode of anime. And then once that ends, I will start my actual run, and I'll see how far I can go running without like stopping. Little by little, I'm starting to get my stamina back. I used to be able to run 2 miles without stopping before. Funny enough, the last time that we went to Texas, that's when I was at my best overall weight in like 20 years. And after that trip,
Mm.
it went all downhill afterwards.
The barbecue.
It was the barbecue.
Oh, the barbecue. Yeah. And they have a lot of good craft beer down there. So
and they do have a lot of craft beer. All right, so let me see what I have right here. I have Bottle Logic Brewing, which is one of my favorite breweries. This is Dark Rituals, a barley wine stout blend. Then he also got me. This says Horus, so I'm Horus. So I'm assuming that this Horus Brewing is called Another Dose, which is an imperial stout. I like it. I'm a huge fan of stouts. If the next couple of beers aren't gonna. And also this one is called Hypnos, which is another imperial stout from Livingston Co. Oh, it's from Mortalis Brewing. Interesting.
Let me ask you this.
Yep.
Are you more drawn to the type of beer or to the gimmicky naming scheme or theme of the beer? Because I've noticed I skew, if it's not a sour, because sours are my go-to, but if it's not a sour, a good theme will get me regardless if it's a beer I even like. Like, are you the same way, or are you pretty picky about, like, I like my stout, I like my this, I like my IPA, whatever?
Yeah, I'm very, very picky about it. And no theming convention is gonna get me to drink. Oh, you know what? That's not true. I guess it depends. I know our Angel's brother Elvis doesn't really like beer, but he will always go out of his way to drink that Iron Maiden beer that they have, the Trooper beer. Which that beer is alright. It's not the best beer, but you know, it gets the job done. I would absolutely drink the crap out of that RTJ beer that they released with some brewing company. I'm sure it's an IPA, but not really.
Oh yeah, that was like a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it?
A theming isn't really gonna get me to try a beer. I'm gonna open up the Mortalis Brewing.
Yeah, and give us a flavor. Do it like a wine tasting, even though that makes no sense because it's not wine.
Like wine tasting? Oh, you know
tell
what?
us about the earthy tones.
I actually do not have my drinking glasses here in my room. Whatever, I'll just drink it straight from the bottle. I know it's blasphemous for some beer snobs, but whatever.
I mean, Kevin, you could have totally lied. No one can see you.
That's a good point. That is a great point. But you know what?
You're just too honest.
Yeah.
We gotta keep our honesty is our downfall. We start a podcast by saying it won't be funny, and then 20 minutes in, we're like, and we're going to tell you all the things that you hate.
Just kidding. Like I did have my beer glasses here.
Oh, a tie-in with the name. Beautiful.
Exactly,
Look at that episode.
All right.
Beautiful.
I don't think I have anything on here that tells me what stuff is in here. Yeah, of the 3 beers that I have, this is the only one that doesn't tell me what kind of stuff. Oh, well, it says Imperial Stout, but I don't know exactly what's in it. All right.
I'm expecting like a nice sound bite of like a ksh as it opens, like from a commercial or whatever.
Oh, that's really good.
But
that's really, really good. Oh, it's creamy. Oh, this is delicious. I could drink this all day. I do not condone drinking all day. Do not drink all day.
Yes. We do not endorse that much drinking.
Drink responsibly. Oh, okay, that's really good.
What is it about these? So whenever I do a show with either just you or just Angel, well, previously it was just Angel, now it's just you, we always get on the topic of a very specific food or drink item that someone obsesses over. I remember when Angel and I did Power Hour, he spent 10 minutes talking about chocolate bread, which he didn't even know the name of, which was the funniest part. Like he did a whole rant about how great it was, and at the end he's like, and I was like, what's the bread? And he's like, I don't know. Like, what? How do you not know? And he never followed up and said the name.
I feel like food or drink is a very good way of, I don't know, it's just an easy, like, talking point, you know, whenever you're with somebody. Me and our friend Victor, I wouldn't consider myself a foodie. He's absolutely a foodie.
Oh, yeah.
But like one of the nice things that we just did recently was last Sunday we went to Smorgasburg, LA. Is that how you pronounce it? Mm-hmm. Smorgasburg?
Maybe. I assume. I don't know.
Have you ever been?
It's like, cause it's 2 different words. I've never been, but I've always wanted to go.
So, we went and we had barbecue from this place called Smoke Queen Barbecue. Really, really good. I remember this has nothing to do with the food or drink thing that were brought up, but I need to go to the restroom just to wash my hands. It takes forever to get to find the restroom in Row DTLA. And on my way back, this was maybe at around 10:30 a.m. I noticed a young Asian man on his bench with his two kids, and what I assume is his wife. And upon closer inspection, that actually sounds creepy. It wasn't. I didn't get like close to his face or anything.
As I creeped through the bushes and became more visible to them, but to me,
as I got closer to him, I realized, oh, that's Steven Yeun.
That's cool.
Yeah, and just really quickly as I passed by, hey Steven, love you on Invincible, and he said, hey, thanks man. I wanted to get a picture, but he was with his family, so I didn't want to bother him.
Isn't that like, I don't want to say the worst, because obviously these people have normalized, but does that kind of suck when you do encounter, because like I ran into Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park at Nintendo's booth at E3 one year, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna like get a photo with him, and then like I turned towards him and I'm like, oh, his son's right there. And like obviously they have normal lives, and I'm not saying they should always be on for fans and always be available, but in that moment we're like, oh, someone I'm a huge fan of, and then you're just like, oh, right, they're just a person and they have other people around them and I need to let them be. Like it kind of, you know what I mean?
No, yeah.
It kind of takes you out of the moment where you can have a cool moment, yeah.
And then there's
that's cool that you saw him.
Yeah. And then it's always this thing with celebrities where sometimes, I guess depending on the celebrity, somebody will tweet at them like, hey, I saw you here, but I didn't want to bother you. And then sometimes they're like, oh, no, you absolutely should have come up for a picture, that kind of thing. But you know what? I didn't want to be disrespectful. Especially, it was, like I said, it was almost 11 a.m. on a Sunday. He was just there with his family. No one was bothering him. I didn't want to be that guy.
Right. Well, who's the coolest celebrity you have met?
I briefly met... Well, I don't know if briefly met. I talked to him, but Tom Hanks, who was my favorite actor, we interacted a little bit once at my previous job. I don't know. I did meet. I have interacted with a lot of celebrities before. At my current job, I actually interacted with Jeff Kaplan, who was I believe he was the director of Overwatch. And I interacted with him. I interacted with him when I was at like my peak Overwatch like fandom. But yeah, I've interacted. So
are you using the term interact to mask like fanboyed out, or like did you contain yourself, or was it just like, oh my god, just rambling about all the characters?
Because, I mean, I guess I could say like I met them, but I didn't really meet them if they do not know my name. So just how are you doing kind of thing. I like what you do. Oh, I guess they didn't know my name, but one group of people that I did interact with the longest was Glenn Howerton and Rob McElhenney from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. This was maybe about 2 weeks after their episode aired on the Nerdist podcast. Mm-hmm. I remember them walking towards me, and I noticed Caitlin Olsen. I was like, oh, that's Caitlin Olsen. Right behind them, Rob and Glenn Howerton. I just said, hey, loved you guys on the Nerdist podcast. And I remember I think Glenn Howerton said something along the lines of, oh, did that finally come out? And then they also had a friend out there, and they're like, oh, you did Chris Hardwick? And they're like, yeah. And then I remember Rob McElhenney, he looked kind of worried, and he looked at me, and he's like, be honest with me. How do we do? And I just told him, loved it. You guys were great. You guys were fantastic. And then he just flashed me that big Rob McElhenney smile that he has,
Yeah.
And he was like, he was like, almost like grateful, like, oh, thank God. And he was like, hey, thanks, man, appreciate it.
It's like a real fan has a real opinion.
Yeah, exactly. And then they just went on their way.
It's always, I feel like if there is an encounter you have with a celebrity, like, it's almost best when you do something niche like that. Because it shows, like, you're not just, like, wanting the, you're not just like, oh, I know who you are, I'm going to take a picture, but, like, you're an actual fan, you know what I mean? Because not to keep evoking Mike Shinoda, because that's weird. There's others I've met in here. Like, even Tom Hanks, I didn't meet, but I had an interaction with, too, where I was at a restaurant in Beverly Hills, and he was chasing his grandson around the restaurant. It was Mother's Day weekend, and he was doing the Woody voice to the grandson as he was chasing him, and it was an amazing moment to witness. But in terms of like actually meeting people, like again, Mike Shinoda, I bumped into him at a gallery show for Murakami, the artist, and I was like, okay, I get a picture, and he's like, sure, and he seemed kind of like, I don't really want to be the center of attention. This is like not my gallery show, And then afterwards, that night, he had like a random B-side coming out on Spotify or something. It was something that was available in like the Japanese release of his album, but now they were making it available more readily. So after the photo, I just said like, oh, hey, I'm excited for that B-side to come out finally. And he like, you could see the gears turning in his head. And then when he realized exactly what I was talking about, like this huge smile, he's like, okay, yeah. And he like his tone changed completely. And there was nothing wrong with his initial like vibe. Like he didn't want to make a scene. He was just there to see the art. But then once he realized that was like genuine, it's amazing how quickly he lit up. And it sounds like, you had the same experience with the Sunny guys.
Yeah. And I assume that those are probably their best experiences, right? They don't, not that somebody asking for a picture is the worst experience, but something like that must like have it feeling good afterwards. It's like this is more of a true interaction as opposed to, hey, I love your work, can I get a picture? Even just like the briefest of dialogues. I'm sure they really, really enjoy that.
Or sometimes they ask for your picture, which was a weird thing that happened to me in Seth Green at Comic-Con, where we were doing like the autograph line, and I don't know why, but he was just like, hey, we should take a photo. And he took his phone out and took a photo of us. And he was like, I'm going to text it to my friend. And I'm like, I don't know what's happening or why I just got a photo taken of me, but somewhere in Seth Green's camera roll is or was me, which is odd.
But somebody, I maybe it was his Instagram, the kid from Stranger Things, the like huskier one. I don't know. I've never seen Stranger Things.
Yes, he has the. Oh man, yes, I know exactly who he plays. Dustin.
Yeah, exactly. Dustin's actor. Yeah. I could have sworn when Stranger Things was coming out, people were like starting to approach him. He would do this thing of like, oh, let me take a picture with you, not the other way around. I mean, I don't know if he still does that to this day, but he used to do that.
Gaten Matarazzo is his name, or something like
sure.
That. But he has an interesting background. He was on Broadway. He did musicals before Stranger Things, like as a young kid, if I remember correctly.
I feel like a lot of people did, right?
I'm not sure how he like pivoted to Stranger Things.
Tom Holland was also a Broadway kid.
Mm-hmm. Or was Tom Holland Broadway or London's West End? I mean, same difference really, but
he was a theater kid.
Yeah. And a good dancer. I mean, that lip sync battle thing where he did Umbrella by Rihanna and did a backflip in water. Yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you seen that?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I never saw the entire thing, but I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he's pretty good. I have to say, there is something, and we've just been doing it for 10 minutes, but there is something kind of strange about, like, if you stop and think about it, like, the obsession with celebrities in our culture.
Oh, yeah,
like,
absolutely.
The fact that it's like, oh, we saw Tom Holland do a backflip in water. That was so cool. It's like, all right, why is that cool? Like,
yeah,
it was just
some random,
or like,
it was some stranger on Hollywood Boulevard, Wait, is it Hollywood Boulevard? It is, right?
Yeah.
I used to go to Hollywood.
Where the Elmos live?
Hollywood
Boulevard.
Back in high school. And I was literally at Hollywood Boulevard last week. But
what did you do at Hollywood Boulevard every weekend in high school? Did you just keep going to the wax museum? Like, there's not a lot there.
Well, let me get back to your Tom Holland point.
Okay,
it's like if you saw some random dude in Hollywood Boulevard doing Umbrella, like in water and doing a backflip, you'd be like,
yeah,
that's cool. And that's pretty much it. But when Tom Holland does it, you clap. You're like, oh my god.
Yeah, you're like, OMG. Yeah.
No, but to the Hollywood Boulevard stuff, when we found out that it's relatively cheap. It was relatively cheap back in the day to get to Hollywood. It was only like really no more than $5, I think. The amount of like bus lines and stuff that we would take. So we would just go out there constantly. It was mainly because we got really into comic books in high school. And so we would go to Golden Apple Comics, which was like one of the more famous places. We would go to Metropolis Comics. That's where I think that's where the Nerdist used to record their podcasts.
Yeah, they were in the back, right? Along with
in the back
Kumail
with Kumail and Jonah Ray's
Nerd Melt, right? That was technically the name of the back room.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we used to go there a lot.
And then it like caught fire. Am I remembering that correctly?
I don't remember.
At some point?
I'm not sure.
It might have been after it
like
shut
the
down
studio
already,
or
but the building caught fire. Yeah, like the building. Like I
Oh,
think
the
Metropolis
entire
Comics moved out. I think Nerd Melt kind of winded down, but I think the space caught fire. But I remember just like some of those guys lamenting, oh, you know, all the history there of all the various things that were done with all these different people, and it's just gone.
I really liked Metropolis
Again,
Comics.
JK, fun podcast, lots of jokes, yay, fires.
I'm having fun.
Yeah, no, I just mean like we keep going down these like sad routes. Like, remember that cool thing and then it burned? Yeah.
Yeah. I saw Dune at the TCL. I don't know what the full title is. I think it's the TCL Chinese Theater. Do they still call it the Chinese Theater? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They do.
For some reason.
How was that experience? Because I've only been there once.
Oh, you've only been there once? What movie did you see?
I've only been there once for Interstellar.
Oh, I guess if that doesn't seem like a bad movie to see in that theater.
No.
I have been there. I think that was my 6th time being there. I saw Endgame there.
Wow.
That was probably one of the best like movie experiences of my lifetime.
The crowd.
More the atmosphere. Like, yeah, exactly.
Did you go opening night or?
I think we did opening weekend. I think it might have been on a Sunday. Yeah. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it was opening weekend.
I cannot imagine ever going to a movie again with the reaction from a crowd and the kind of feeling of that moment and that like vibe as, you know, the big climactic moment with Avengers Assemble in Endgame.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't think that will ever be taught. That was like insane. But anyway, sorry, you're listing them off. So that was one of the 6.
So that was one of the 6. Mad Max Fury Road. Love that movie. That was where I saw that.
Great movie.
What else? Godzilla. What was the second Godzilla? King of the Monsters? Which I don't really care about that movie.
Yes.
And I feel like I must have seen a thing or... Oh, you know what? I saw Captain America Civil War there as well. I think that might have been the first time that I went to that theater. Okay. I was invited to that one. That wasn't like me planning this one out. Mm-hmm. But no, yeah, had a great time. That movie is pretty visually stunning. And it's funny, I went with Angel's brother Elvis, and as soon as we sat down in our seats, the movie started playing, which was like
to the second
to the exact second. Yeah, it was great because
beautiful.
I gotta have some popcorn whenever I go to a movie theater. You know.
Yes.
It's bad for my diet.
Like I go with people and they're like, why?
You know,
like Angels like that. Yeah, Angels like that. Where I'll be like, should we get some popcorn? It's like, no, and I'm like, wait. You're at a movie theater. Like, that's part of the experience is you have to stuff yourself with this, like, you know, salty, crunchy thing. Like, you can't just not do it. Like, it's so strange that every single time, just like you, have to get popcorn.
Yeah, exactly. It's just part of the movie experience, you know?
It's the experience. Yeah, I mean, at that point, you can just watch it at home. I mean, not really. There's other reasons to go to the theater. But, well, I guess to that point, so you go to TCL a lot. It sounds like with Dune, you must have seen it in IMAX. I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, that's the only. I think that's the only theater that they have, unless they have some others off to the side. I'm not too sure about that.
I think that might be it. What? So is IMAX your preferred? Because now there's like 12 different formats, right? There's IMAX, there's Cinemark XD, there's 4D, there's like Dolby Atmos, Dolby Vision. You know, like do you have is IMAX the one for you?
You know what?
Your favorite format?
I saw something in Dolby Vision. I forgot what I saw, but it looked amazing in Dolby Vision. I think that's the way that I want to see movies from now on, specifically in Dolby Vision. Like, I understand that the screen isn't as big, but man, those colors just look great. I'm having such a hard time remembering what we saw. This is gonna bug me until I figure it out.
Seen Dolby Vision, but that's kind of what I was trying to figure out. So I haven't seen Dune yet, and I'm sure when we both see it, we'll go deeper on an random Nintendo about it.
Yep.
But I spent like 40 minutes, I'm not exaggerating, researching the best way to see it and which theater. And what's really confusing is like some theaters have all the options. So the AMC at Century City here in LA has IMAX with laser in 4K, so laser projector, and that looks great. And then it has Dolby Vision, which also looks great. But apparently some people are like, oh, well, if you see it in IMAX, and this is how nitty-gritty I was getting, if you see it in IMAX, like there may be a little light leak from the right because of the exit signs. There's a little red on the screen, but if you see it in Dolby Vision, the shadow of the handrail at the bottom of the seats gets on the screen, and it's just like, why is this so difficult? Remember it used to just be like, I'll see a movie, and that was the end of the sentence? Now it's like 12 different formats and 4K and 4D and smell-o-vision and like, you know, it's I get why. In the sense of, like, you need to make a premium experience because people stay home, but it's a lot. It's a lot.
So the movie that I saw in Dolby Vision was Shang-Chi, which
great movie. That'd be a good one to see.
Yeah, especially the scaffolding.
Third.
The scaffolding.
Oh,
scene.
Yeah, with the neon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that reminded me so much of what's that James Bond movie? Not Spectre, the other one.
Skyfall.
The one before Skyfall, thank you. Yeah, because there's a scene that's neon lit like that as well in Skyfall. And it was like, it's such... every movie can do that. Like, I want to see Last Night in Soho just for the neon lighting. Like, any movie that does that, I'm sold, basically. Like,
did you see Blade Runner 2049 in theaters?
I did. I think I saw it... I'm trying to remember if I saw it in IMAX or not. But the cinematography of... Was that Deakins that did it?
Yeah, that was Deakins.
Right?
That was Deakins. I think he came out of retirement right?
Yes, but then he went on to do that World War II movie as well, the Dunkirk.
Gotcha.
He didn't do the colors in the same way, but the shadow, like when they're doing the bombing run on that abandoned town and the shadows and the way the lights are hitting him, he might be like, I never thought I'd say I have a favorite cinematographer, but like he might be it. Cause like everything he does I just love. Like Blade Runner, the color palette, like the shadow work in Dunkirk. Like it's just, wait, is it Dunkirk? It's not Dunkirk. It's 1917. My bad. 1917.
I mean, he could have worked on Dunkirk, and I would have believed it.
Yeah, no, I meant 1917 because that's when the bombing run with the lighting and stuff. From who did 1917? Was it Sam Mendes?
That was Sam Mendes.
Yeah, like anything Deakins. He can literally do cinematography of like just an ant walking across some grass, and I will be captivated.
He'd make it look amazing.
Yeah, it looked like it was the most like spectacular thing you've seen in your life.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping, I know he's not doing Dune, but I get his vibe kind of from Dune.
Yeah,
he's not sure,
Dune. I'm not sure.
Dune was someone else.
Yeah, it's somebody else. I'm trying to look it up right now. Let me see. Craig Fraser, who did the cinematography.
Right, but he's paired with the director who did Blade Runner 1947 or 19. Wow, I'm mixed up all my days. 2047. So there's some of that Deaconism kind of like rubbed off on him, I guess. Although his style too, Dennis, however you say his last name,
Dennis Villeneuve.
I don't want to mispronounce it.
Yeah, Villeneuve.
I think that's it. Like his style is also very similar to Deakins in terms of some of the shots and stuff. So
yeah,
it's all that. That's yeah.
So
it's just like perfect wallpapers that just move from one to the next.
Yeah. So
like, all of them would look great on the back of a laptop.
So Greg Fraser. Looks like he's got a sort of mixed bag. Let Me In, which he did with Matt Reeves, which was the Let the Right One In American adaptation. Killing Them Softly, which was that Brad Pitt movie. Snow White and the Huntsman, which... Okay.
Well, he did that? Okay.
Yeah, Zero Dark 30. Yeah, his resume is all over the place. Rogue One... which is the only Star Wars movie that I like.
The best of the new Star Wars movies.
And the only one that I will actually ever watch again. Vice, which was that Dick Cheney movie. Dune, and then he's working with Matt Reeves again for The Batman.
On The Batman.
Yep.
Yeah. And The Batman, again, has that same sort of the trailer for it has the same sort of any one shot in that trailer would make a gorgeous wallpaper. Like, it's just frame by frame.
Have
awesome
not seen the
looking
trailer.
Shot after the next.
Have not seen the new trailer.
I will not spoil it for you because I know you're not trying to, but it visually looks really cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to not see the trailer for stuff that I'm super excited. I saw the trailer that came out last year, and that was enough for me to be like, okay, I'm sold. I don't need to see anything else.
I will say there's a discourse that popped up, and it's not a spoiler, but there's a discourse that popped up about what the film is supposedly going to be based on what Matt Reeves has said and what the trailer represents it as in terms of, the tone of the movie. So it might have been smart of you not to watch the trailer, if for no other reason than because it may change your expectations only to have them snap back to what you probably already originally expected. So it might be like a swerve that's unnecessary. So you probably made the right call.
Robert Pattinson is a Batman, a Bruce Wayne that I didn't know that I needed. I love Robert Pattinson.
I'm amazed at his post-Twilight career. There's like some actors that you think are just going to get stuck in a rut, and he overcame it. Honestly, Daniel Radcliffe overcame it after Harry Potter. Like he did some interesting stuff afterwards, some kind of quirky stuff. There are like different ways they overcame it. Like Pattinson went kind of more artsy, but like, yeah, it's crazy when some of these actors actually like grow into something so much better than the one franchise they were known for.
I particularly like that Robert Pattinson, whenever he gets the chance, will just drag the Twilight movies for the, in my opinion, for the trash that they are. I've seen those movies. I saw the first one, and then I said to myself, I might as well see the other three, because what use is my knowledge of the first one? It's almost...
You gotta see it through.
I gotta see it through at this point. But yeah, I love hearing him slag off the movies whenever he can. Even in the, every now and then, it'll pop up on Twitter of like the director's commentary of some of those movies, and even in there he's like throwing shots at how the movie was made and stuff like that.
Which is so funny because there's so many people who don't know, because his stuff he's done post-Twilight is rather, indie or, a little more niche. There's so many people who are like, oh, sparkly Batman, or oh, the vampire's Batman, all that.
Exactly.
Like, it's just like, it's so like he's aware of his past. He jokes about it. He's overcome it. Like, give the dude a chance if you haven't seen anything else. Like, clearly he has a great career trajectory now.
Yeah, like The Lighthouse. He's amazing in that.
Yeah.
Tenet, he's probably the best part of Tenet. Good Time. Have you ever seen Good Time?
I have not, but I remember when we saw Tenet and we talked about we separated this up. We talked about it on Arnon, and you kept mentioning that I need to see Good Time, and then I completely forgot after the recording until just now. So I should probably go back and watch it sometime.
Yeah, Good Time. Same directors of
Some Good Time.
Crap, what's that movie that is so polarizing? Adam Sandler. What's his name? What's the movie's name?
What? Adam Sandler?
Uncut Gems.
Oh, Uncut Gems. Wait, that's when we talked about it in the context of Uncut Gems. Yeah. I love Uncut Gems.
Interesting.
I mean, one, I'm a Weekend
really
fan, so I'm a bias going in. But no, I really liked it just because I've never sat in a movie theater and felt so tense for so long. Like, every choice Adam Sandler was making, it's just like, why are you doing that? And it was like physically, like, I felt so tense. And even in like thrillers and horror movies, I don't feel tense like that. Like, it was a feeling I've never had from a movie, and I just was like afterwards I felt exhausted. Like, coming out of the theater, I'm like, oh my God. Like, that was a lot. Like, I had to breathe out. But yeah, I think just that experience and it feeling like that is what really made it stick with me, and The Weeknd being in it. But
and The Weeknd being. Have you ever seen The Weeknd live?
The Weeknd. I have. I saw him on the Starboy tour, which was 2 albums ago. Now, he was supposed to do one for his next album, After Hours, which was obviously when he really blew up and had the Super Bowl show and Blinding Lights and all that. But he just canceled that last week because they're upgrading the size of the tour to a stadium tour. So they kind of, to be a little cynical, are like, sorry fans who waited 2 years and already paid for good seats. Now you need to pay a little more for the same spot, but in a bigger stadium.
Oh, so, yeah. That does suck because, usually, and System of a Down just did this with their show after their lead singer caught COVID, that they canceled their LA shows. But, tickets will be, what's the word that they always use? Their tickets.
They'll be not valued, but they'll be, yes, they'll be honored. There we go.
Honored. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Their tickets will be honored. Exact same seating. So having to upgrade your seats, that kind of does suck.
So in The Weeknd's defense, anyone who bought a ticket for the last After Hours tour will get first dibs at a ticket for After Hours Till Dawn. That's the name of the new tour because it's going to combine the After Hours album, which had Blinding Lights and all that, with his upcoming album that's maybe called The Dawn. He keeps referencing it as The Dawn, but never said that's the name. So there is first dibs, but I'm just thinking, like, if you're in a stadium, getting that, because I had floor seats, pretty close.
So where was he supposed to play?
Stadium, Staples, and now they're moving it to undisclosed stadium that they'll announce at a later time.
I'm going to assume SoFi.
Yeah. I mean, I feel bad for the Rose Bowl. He used to have all these big stadium shows, and then SoFi came to town, during the pandemic,
it's just
and so far
everybody's lunch.
Everyone's ditching it. Yeah, I mean, even Coldplay, they do the Rose Bowl. They ditched it for SoFi.
Yeah, and then I know Microsoft Theater is also about to get its lunch eaten because they just opened up the YouTube Theater just on that same campus.
And conceptually, this is all great because where I used to live before I moved to my apartment was like 20 minutes from this entire entertainment complex, the Forum, SoFi Stadium, YouTube. And then right as I moved to be closer to LA, essentially, that's not the reason, but I happen to be, now I'm 20 minutes from Staples, Microsoft Theater, LA Live, the Convention Center, all that. They move all the shows back to where I used to live.
Back to Inglewood.
Like, why are you doing this to me? Yeah, now it's in Inglewood, which is closer to my old home. So,
oh boy.
But yeah, it's been nice going back to concerts though, to be honest. I mean, you probably worked them because of your job, but have you had the opportunity to like go to a concert since COVID kind of not ended, but since the world started reopening a little?
So not like a full-blown concert, but I have gone to a show in Silver Lake. There's this venue called the Echo, and one of my favorite bands that I've been following since their inception, they had essentially their last show. It might have been like 3 weeks ago. So I went to that, and that was fine. The Echo is a very, very small venue, and it's in Silver Lake, so a lot of hipsters around that area.
It's in like sort of a basement, which is interesting.
That's the Echoplex. That's the under part. Yeah, no, it's not even next door. It's just like the underground, which is maybe about 4 times as big.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So the Echo's actually smaller above ground, and the Echoplex underground is. Yeah, because I saw, who did I see there? I think I ended up seeing Macklemore of all people there. And, judge away, go ahead. And, what was weird about that venue to me is like, in movies and stuff, we used to see like underground rap battle, like in like a warehouse and there's like support beams, but this is like a concert venue and it has like support beams in the middle of the floor. And you're like, oh, I guess I'll stand to the left of the support beam and hope the crowd doesn't sway me behind the support beam. But they had like, like 6 of them down there, 7 of them. But it's a really cool small space. Like, if anyone listening ever gets a chance to like see like a club show essentially for like a major artist you like, Macklemore aside, that's the best way to do it. Like it's so intimate and like, even I saw Coldplay at the Palladium here in LA, which is a bigger venue. It holds like 1,000 plus or something, but compared to like the Rose Bowl with 60,000, it felt so like special and intimate. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just like, it's such a cool experience and you feel like you're more connected to it. And
yeah, I've seen the Arctic Monkeys, I think maybe about 5 or 6 times live at this point. One of my favorite bands. And I've also seen them at the Palladium actually. The Palladium, is that the one at, in Koreatown? Or I'm thinking of the
Palladium's over. Yeah, that's the Wiltern, which I'm actually going to be at on Wednesday to see a Conan O'Brien. But the Palladium that's in the Hollywood. Sunset.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the one that's like a weird round ballroom that they just shoved the stage on one side. And now it's a concert venue.
Pretty much. Yeah. No, but I've seen the Arctic Monkeys at the Wiltern. I've seen them at the Staples Center. I've seen them at the Hollywood Bowl. And of their best shows, it was the Wiltern one, which was their smallest one,
Right.
So,
right. Yeah. And it's funny because the show could be basically the same, but it's just that intimacy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I literally, in 2012 saw the same Linkin Park show 3 weeks apart just by sheer chance. The first one I paid for was at House of Blues when it still existed here in LA. That one got destroyed for a condo complex or something. But, and House of Blues is a smallish venue, and I was like halfway back in the crowd. I'm like, this is really cool. I can't imagine this ever being topped. And then like 2 weeks later, because I was in their fan club, the X Games were in town. This is when LA still hosted the X Games before they moved to Austin. And Linkin Park was the opening night act, and that was at Club Nokia, now known as the Novo for folks who know LA. And they basically had the fan club, which I was part of, get to go for free. So I was like, oh, well, I'll do it a second time, sure. And then they only filled enough of the venue for it to be on cameras and look full because it was for MySpace. Really dating myself here. Like the reinvented MySpace, like the Timberlake owned, invested MySpace. And, I was maybe 8 people closer, like 8 rows closer in the standing area. And that alone made the show like 10 times better, even though it's the exact same set list minus one song. Like it's just, that connection. It's hard to top. Like it's the closer you get, better it is. I mean, at some level you might be too close. You can't see the full visual, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, and
Yeah.
I'm starting to think of the other times I've seen the Arctic Monkeys. I saw them during Almost Acoustic at the crap. I forget the venue that they use for Almost Acoustic here in LA. It's right near USC.
It's now the Forum. It used to be the Shrine.
The Shrine. I saw them at the Shrine.
Yeah, they moved it to the Forum though. Yeah, the
That makes
Shrine
sense.
auditorium.
Yeah, and then I saw them at the K-Rock sound space that they have in Burbank, I believe.
Oh, you got to go to that?
Yeah,
You like won tickets?
Yeah, I won a radio contest. That's the only time
Wow.
that's ever happened. Yeah, I got called. I was on the radio for a little bit. So that was fun. But yeah, nothing's gonna be, that might have been a little too intimate for sure. Compared to like the Wiltern.
It's possible. Like, it was like one of those things that I'm glad I did at that one time and was able to be like front row and really like soak it up. But I don't mind being a few steps back and seeing the whole stage with the lights a little more. But yeah, it's so is Arctic Monkeys the band you've seen the most?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely. I've seen, or they're probably the biggest band that I've seen the most. I've seen the Growlers, maybe about 5 or 6 times. There's this punk band that I listen to called Fiddlar, which I've seen
I've heard of them.
four, maybe 5 times around there. But yeah, the biggest band for sure that I've seen the most is, Arctic Monkeys. I've seen them more than the Killers, and I loved the Killers years ahead of Arctic Monkeys, but I've only seen the Killers maybe about 3 or 4 times. And
you sound kind of like me in terms of you see a band repeat. Like, some people are like, I saw him once, why would I see him again? Do you basically do every album cycle? You have to go back and hear the new songs live?
Yeah, if I can, I absolutely will.
Yeah, that's pretty much me.
I mean, it also depends on the Killers, or not on the Killers. It depends on the album. I haven't been a big fan of the Killers' last 2 albums, so COVID messed everything up as it did. So they postponed their Imploding the Mirage tour, which I think I still would have gone to that tour. But like,
it's where you work. You could sort of be there.
Yeah, essentially. No, but as a fan, not as an employee of that place.
I'll be there. You can spy on me. I'll be there.
Yeah. So, there's this tour that they're going to do at the stadium. It's still technically called the Imploding the Mirage tour. So I don't know if they're going to play any songs off of Pressure Machine. But if there is a Pressure Machine tour, I will probably not be there just because I really don't like that album.
Yeah. The Killers are the only band I feel like I'm in that situation with. Like I can't even think of a good example right now, but there's some that even if the album's not their best, I'm like, well, I can maybe hear just 1 or 2 songs I like live, and I'll still hear all the old songs I like live. But yeah, I guess the closest, and I don't even dislike it, but the closest would be like, so Coldplay is doing a tour next year at SoFi, got floor seats to that, or floor tickets. They're not seats, even though it's a stadium show, because their floor, in the most Coldplay thing ever, is a kinetic floor that will harness the energy of the crowd's movement to store in a battery that they can then use to help power future shows. That's 100% a real thing. It's kind of cool, but it's the most Coldplay thing you'll ever hear in your life. But, where are they going with that? Yeah, but I was like so gung-ho on seeing them, and then like I've listened to their album, and some of the songs are good, there's a lot of interludes randomly. Like, it's not their best album. I'm enjoying it, but it's not their best. But yet, I'm still like, oh, I gotta hear some of this live. Like, I gotta go. Like, it's just like that weird fandom impulse, if you will.
No, I get it. You're also sort of a creature of habit, right?
Yes.
Where, the new album comes out, even if you just like it a little bit, you still go out of your way to try and see that live.
Yeah, it's funny that I'm kind of like that. Yeah, because it's led to me seeing Linkin Park until Chester's passing. I think, even if you count their like tribute show to him, I think I've seen like 8 or 9 times. I've seen Kanye like 5. I've seen Coldplay like 5. Yeah, it's I am very much like, I'm very like set in my, like, I'm a fan of this now, and I go like all in. Like, even with Nintendo, if you think about like the random Nintendo side of our podcasting, like, we have the running joke, I don't necessarily beat all my games and stuff, but I'm like all in on everything about the like Nintendo culture and what's going on, and always having to be on top of the newest thing they do, and which doesn't necessarily make sense. Like, it's like I enjoy the consumption, the like absorbing of the new stuff more than I do the consumption of the product in full, kind of.
Yeah.
Which is strange, and at least I like to think at least I'm self-aware about that, but it's definitely weird.
Have you ever been to a music festival?
I've been to a couple.
Oh, you did Life is Beautiful, right?
I did Made in America when they did the one LA edition.
Gotcha.
Which is still my favorite thing. Like the city of LA, the mayor of LA, Budweiser who sponsored it, Jay-Z who organizes it. They all were like on this stage. They did like this big photo op. They're like, hey, we're bringing our major music festival, Made in America, to LA. It'll be the first festival in downtown LA. It's going to be a huge thing. They did it the first year. They had Kanye as a headliner. They had, who else was there? I think John Mayer, Steve Aoki. Like they really tried to get a lot of different genres.
Wait, where was that at?
Getting a bunch. Chance the Rapper.
That was in downtown LA?
It was in downtown. It was at City Hall. They built the stages at Grand Park right next to City Hall. So it was like the heart of downtown. They shut it down for 2 days. They had Imagine Dragons. They had like all these huge acts. It was 2014, I think. And then it happened. The crowd was like, it looked big. It wasn't, I don't know if it sold out, but it did well. Some flowers got trampled in the park. Like people were sitting on top of bus stops to get a better view of Kanye and whatever. And then we never heard about it ever again. And it just faded away. And it's still going strong in Philly. But LA made this huge deal about it and then just like shrugged it off like it never happened. It was so weird. But it was a really cool festival. So I did that one. And I did Camp Flog Gnaw, which is organized by Tyler, Creator, and Live Nation.
Okay, yeah.
In the Dodger Stadium parking lot, which is actually a really cool place to do it. Because the stadium parking lot's like kind of 2 levels because of the hill it's on. So you like literally are like walking around and you like kind of dip behind the hill and go lower and there's one stage, or you go back up the hill and there's another stage, and one of them completely overlooks the LA skyline. It's great. But that one too just mysteriously like isn't happening this year.
Well, I'm sure COVID has something to do with that.
But the other one that happens the same weekend by the same organizers in Vegas is happening. So maybe it's an LA restriction. I don't know. Yeah. But so those are 2 I've been to. What about you?
Than LA with its COVID policies.
That's true. That is definitely true. Although interestingly, so I saw for my girlfriend's birthday, we went to Vegas for iHeartRadio Festival. That's why you guys did Rated KA without me. And interestingly, at the T-Mobile Arena in Vegas, everyone was wearing their masks. It was pretty enforced. It's an indoor venue, but it was very enforced. You know, they didn't have people checking, but it was very enforced. I come here. I go see, courtesy of you actually, Kevin, free tickets to Maroon 5. Again, mostly for my girlfriend. No one was wearing a mask in there. And I was like, I know it's outside, but like LA has the exact same policy as Vegas. Yet Vegas was actually more,
if anything,
on
more
top
stricter.
of their COVID prevention. Yeah. And yet Vegas was the better, like, citizen, if you will. So, kind of interesting.
That is pretty interesting. Oh,
yeah.
Man. The amount of calls that I get at the place where I work, well, at this point, if you do a little digging, you'll find out where I work. But the amount of calls that I get asking asking for the vaccine or COVID policies, I just think to myself, you people are worrying too much. Just get vaccinated. It's so much easier. It's so much cheaper.
Seriously.
But what can you do?
It's literally free.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, it's just one of those things like I was just gonna say, it's just one of those things that like I understand there's medical reasons some people can't. Like I do get there are legit medical reasons in some cases, but like the number of people that have died from the vaccine that's known is like 0. The number of people that have died from COVID that's known is like 600,000. Seems pretty simple. What you should do, in that situation.
And
yeah, but anyway, music festivals.
Even if someone were to die because of the vaccine, that's still 1 in how many people have gotten the vaccine?
Exactly, like 2/3 of, or somewhere between half and 2/3 of America.
Well, what's the term? That's a drop in the bucket.
Drop in the bucket. Yeah.
Yeah, come on.
And yes, obviously it would suck if you or a loved one were the one person, but statistically speaking, you're more likely to get struck by lightning 7 times in 1 week than you are to die from this vaccine.
Sure.
So,
but back to music festivals. I've been to.
Yes, yeah.
I've nothing major. I've been to actually me and a couple buddies took a road trip to Arizona for a music festival that they have out there called Viva Phoenix. That was cool because tickets were only like $20, and we made an entire weekend out of it.
Who played it? I assume it's like alt rock.
Like it's alt rock. It's alt rock, but it's a lot of like smaller bands. So the band that we went to specifically for was the Growlers, and I believe another band that me and my friends love to see, the Alalas, and another band called Tropa Mágica. And so that was cool. But like that was a nice little trip. There's another one that I'm forgetting the name of it. It happens every now and then here in LA. Tropicalia. There we go. Tropicalia, which is which is more of a chill rock vibe. And so I've done that 1 year. And then I'm starting to think, the observatory in the OC has, they used to have this one festival called Beach Goth that was also run by the Growlers. That's why I've seen them so much. So just that, but never, nothing on the size of like a Coachella have I ever been to.
Right. Yeah. Have you ever wanted to go to Coachella? I mean, I know it's super mainstream compared to your music taste, or at least nowadays is. It didn't used to be. But have you ever had the urge to go?
Oh, yeah. There was one Coachella lineup that was insane for me. It was like... Actually, I think I might have found it already. 2011's Coachella, which was on Friday, Kings of Leon, which I'm not a huge fan of. There's a couple of songs there that I like. But it had like the Black Keys, Interpol, Brandon Flowers... And then on Saturday, it was Arcade Fire, which I love. Mumford & Sons, I don't care for. Then there was Kanye West, The Strokes on Sunday, Duran Duran, which I love my new wave music, so watching Duran Duran would have been sick. Actually, this isn't even the lineup that I was thinking of. It was a lineup
but it's still a good lineup.
Yeah, but it's still a pretty good lineup.
That Kanye Coachella performance was like, that's like one of the ones that's like in the annals of Coachella, because that was when he brought the ballerinas and like was on a cherry picker in the crowd and like all this other stuff.
Which one was the one that brought
cool
Tupac's
wasn't that Dre a few years later, Dr. Dre? Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe I'm misremembering.
But
Coachella 2012
I
was very lucky
that
that Kanye one. So, and watch how this ties into gaming because it's super bizarre. So he did that in April of that year. And then in August of that year, Activision did a one-time only thing one time they've only ever done this. A Call of Duty fan event called Call of Duty XP. It was like 2 days long. You could play the new Call of Duty.
I
3 months
remember
before
that.
it came out. They took over. Yep.
That was
took over a hangar in LA.
Hangar, right? Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was at the hangar that was where the Spruce Goose was built by Howard Hughes, like the big wooden plane. And it was used for movies a lot. Now it's actually owned by Google and is part of the YouTube creator space. Like it's part of that complex. But anyway, they did this concert, or they did this whole thing with Call of Duty. They had like custom Mountain Dews made like in special cans that said like Call of Duty XP. Like it was a big pouring of money into this event just to play some Call of Duty. But then they ended it the first night with Dropkick Murphys and the second night with Kanye. And I got a one-day ticket because it was only $100. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to see Kanye. I'll try
what
Call
a
of Duty
lineup, dude. I can't
right.
think of two
right?
completely different artists to headline something. Dropkick Murphys and Kanye West. Jesus Christ.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, it made no sense. But they were selling single-day tickets, so I'm like, well, Dropkick Murphys, they can do their thing. They have their fans. I'm going to go see Kanye and try Call of Duty for 20 minutes. So I tried Call of Duty for 20 minutes, and I'm like, I'm just going to wait for Kanye. So I stood over by the stage. Turned out he did his full Coachella set. He brought out Kid Cudi. He had ballerinas. He had pyro. He had all this crazy stuff. It was like the thing that everyone was raving about for like 3 months prior. And it was like 3 rows in front of me, and I paid $100 flat for it. And that was the first time I ever saw him live. And I don't know if he's ever quite topped it. He's come close. But like that was... Thanks, Activision. Thanks for pouring way too much money into that because it was an amazing experience.
Thank you, Activision.
Yeah.
What year was this?
2012. It was actually the week that Watch the Throne came out with Jay-Z, so I kept thinking, is Jay-Z going to be here? And no, of course he wasn't, but yeah, it was 2012, August.
I was about to say thank you, Activision, of 2012, but we don't know how far back their terribleness.
Yeah, let's modify that. Thank you, specifically whoever booked Kanye.
Thank you. thank you,
but
person.
even saying thank you, Kanye, in this day and age.
Yeah, but 2012 Kanye was a completely different Kanye.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say completely different, but like...
He was a little more restrained.
Yeah, exactly.
Believe it or not.
Thank
I
you,
didn't think that'd be a
person
sentence
that
I could ever say.
Kanye West and the Dropkick Murphys for the same event. I can't think. Jesus Christ, Dropkick Murphys.
Yeah, and whoever was like, "Hey, Mountain Dew, make some cans for this one event. Just spin up your can printers and like make a couple thousand of these special cans." It's the same Mountain Dew. They just literally made someone go print on aluminum for this one event. I think I still kept the can because I think I still have it somewhere because I was just like, you know what, like this will be worth something one day to somebody, to some Mountain Dew enthusiast who has like every flavor of Code Red, Code Blue, whatever.
Mountain Dew Code Red Zero is impossible to find. It's
like
drink
Ruby Red
Squirt,
zero, which is also impossible to find.
I drink pretty much just zero sugar sodas now because of my diet. I'm sure they're still terrible for me, but what can I say? Man, drinking the regular Pepsi and regular Coke now disgusts me. It's insane how just my taste buds will just not allow for that anymore. But
I still do. I don't actually do soda much at all, but when I do, I still do the full on soda. But I have noticed with some sparkling ice flavors, and I know we have a deep bond over sparkling ice fandom. I've noticed that with some sparkling ice flavors, as I've weaned off sparkling ice a bit just to have more like iced tea and stuff, like some of them are too sweet now. Like the strawberry watermelon I used to love, and now it's like, whoa, this is just like a Jolly Rancher. Like this is just sugar.
Yeah,
I'm
starting to feel that a little
whatever
bit more.
chemical they use.
It's whatever fake sugar that they use in there.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, they're the chemical that will kill us 20 years early or whatever. But
oh yeah, I'm sure.
Again, morbidity on a show called JK. It's 3 times now.
I don't know if anybody was expecting JK with Jason and Kevin. Like,
we should have done like a morning zoo radio. Like, hey, it's Jason and Kevin with JK. Like, just
crazy Ira and the douche. Like, style
exactly.
antics.
Have a soundboard. Just have like slide
exactly.
whistles at the ready. Yeah,
pretty
missed
much.
opportunity. Yeah.
So, I mean, we've gone for an hour here. I think.
Wait, what? How long did you and Angel go when you did Raid KA? Do you remember?
I don't remember. We wanted to go for 47 minutes.
I know. You guys went well beyond.
Yeah.
Just like we said we were going to do maybe an hour, and we're ahead of that.
Yeah, well, just by a couple minutes. By a few minutes. There's this thing that everybody gets on my ass about when a couple always means 2, but I feel at this point, colloquially, when you say a couple, some people should be understanding that you mean a few. Am I wrong in thinking that?
Well, 2 things. One, I feel like the way you said some people, it sounded like you were doing a verbal subtweet of someone, and I don't know who it is, but good for you.
It's Elvis.
But 2,
it's
Elvis.
I
get what you mean.
He's never going to listen to this. It's Elvis. It's Angel's brother, Elvis.
That's true. He'll never. Yeah. Well, funny story. We're actually probably for our 10th anniversary show. We're probably gonna bring Elvis on the show. So we'll tell him not to prep or prime and not to listen to this. But yeah, no, I get what you mean. I think. I consciously make when I say a couple, I always correct it to a few because I know someone out there is going to be like, excuse me, I think you mean.
Yeah, and whoever you are that's actually
pretty much
doing that,
interchangeable. Yeah.
Eat it, okay?
It's like such,
it's
such
like,
well, actually sort of moment. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
yeah, it's just the natural evolution of language. Things don't mean what they used to mean.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, sick is a good thing, not a bad thing sometimes. And it's up to you in the context of the sentence to figure out if it's good or bad. Like, you can do it. You can do it with a couple and a few people. It's doable.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Subtext is dead in this day and age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. The JK podcast, everybody.
Where subtext is dead.
Yeah.
Speaking of, by the way, we did exceed the record of KA by like 3 minutes. So
okay,
high five through the microphone.
High five through the microphones as well. Yeah. So I guess that's more or less. I had fun. These were great conversations
a fun
that we
little
had.
romp through.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good, and it's nice because we'll still have all the media we've consumed. I mean, I guess we did music, but that's something that Angel never touches on.
Yeah.
I used to for the longest time think he didn't listen to music, and I just realized his music taste is just not the same as ours. Like,
yeah,
I literally like
to
to just sit silently at all times.
Stuff.
He does orchestral, he does video game, he does oldies. Occasionally he's gotten turned on to some Linkin Park and a couple Weekend songs because of me basically just shoving him down his throat. But yeah, for a long time, like, do you just sit in silence? Like, how's this work? But no, it's not a passion for him in the same way it is for us, and that's totally okay.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it was nice to kind of touch on things we probably wouldn't have talked about with him, and then when he's back, we can go right back to our old
rigmarole.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So how do we end this? Should we plug our Twitter? Should we plug our podcast?
I guess we should. I guess we should. Well, if you're listening to this podcast, we probably need to plug the podcast itself. Well, actually, it's a different show.
True.
Yes, so we have a random Nintendo and a random non-Nintendo. And if somehow you stumbled across this without listening to either of those before, and you made it to the point where I'm telling you about the other ones, props to you. Because that's an hour and 10 minutes of what the hell is this that you just endured. Yeah. But, but we do have random Nintendo, random non-Nintendo. Yeah, the JK experience, except that's taken. So next week will be a random Nintendo. It should be a good one. We have Mario Party coming out, although I don't know if we'll have time to try your... We're going to have to figure out when we talk about Mario Party, but there's other games. There's Tetris Effect. There's the Pikmin Bloom surprise release this week. There's going to be plenty to talk about. And then we have random non-Nintendo after that. And to make sure you don't miss any of them, subscribe to us on all the podcast apps, if you're not already. So we have Apple Podcasts, Spotify, which according to their own metrics they released yesterday, now exceeds Apple Podcasts in podcast consumption in the United States. A little fun fact for the folks that made it all the way to the hour 11-minute mark here. But yeah, so we have Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Pandora, Stitcher, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, you name it, we're there. Amazon. We're also on YouTube. RamNintendo.com is the channel name. We are on Twitter at Ram Nintendo. We are individually on Twitter. I'm JSR7. Kevin is KVN Gomi. I feel like I just hijacked what normally on a non-Nintendo episode would be you saying all this.
Fine by me.
Less work for me. So I guess, does that mean I throw to you for the final word instead of you throwing to me for the final word? I guess you have the final word.
What do we have the same final word? Let's think of a word. Let's think of the final word.
What if we do that thing where we have to think of a word and we say it at the same time and we hope it's the same word?
I'm with it.
Okay.
Do you want to count down?
There's so many words I can choose from.
I'm thinking of just one word already. When you said
I got one word. I don't think it's yours.
It was the first word that came in my head. I don't know why. I haven't had these in forever, but let's go with it. You want to count down?
Wait. That sounds like it could be the same word because I also have a noun I haven't had in a long time.
No, there's absolutely no shot.
Well, let's try it. Okay. Right. 3, 2, 1.
Wait, are we going on go or are we going on one?
We'll go on go. Okay. 3. I start and end with a poor countdown. It's called bookending. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Pancake.
Asparagus.
Okay, well.
What'd you say?
I said pancake. Asparagus. Oh, God. All right. Good night, everybody.
Goodbye. It's been lovely. Goodbye, everyone.